Oh, good morning. It feels good to be home. It's very good to be home. 32 years ago, I walked through those doors. I was 10. I was this tall. And I learned from Dr. Kennedy Schultz. And it's my pleasure and honor to share our spiritual growth with you this morning. I have to tell you, I love your minister. Love him. Love him. I go around to a lot of churches nationwide, and I have to tell you, you have one of the most prolific speakers and teachers in the movement. So congratulations to your consciousness. You've done good. So this past Friday morning, like every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I got out of bed at 6 a.m. and I went to the gym. I go to a place that's really more like a country club than a serious gym, like Gold's. And at 6 a.m., it's usually filled with businessmen and soccer moms, all trying to get in their early morning workout before the work week begins. Now, here's the thing. When I go to the gym, it's not a social event. I don't want to chat with you. I don't want to be friends with you. I'm not there to do that. I'm just there to do my workout and to get it over with, because the truth is, I really hate exercise. I don't like it at all. And if it were left up to my lower self to make choices in my life, I would stay in bed late only to get up later to eat fried foods. Lots of them. I'd be at the varsity every day. But like every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, my higher self says, Dr. Chris, that's what my higher self calls me. Dr. Chris, and go to the gym. So I did. I listened, and I did my usual 1.5 hour workout, because none of this happens without that. And my special reward to myself when it's all over is to lie down in the men's steam room just to recuperate from the workout. Well, on this past Friday, after a really, really intense workout that I had, when I went into the steam room for my reward, there was a Neanderthal in my space, hanging out on the top step with a towel too loosely wrapped around his waist. And I call him a Neanderthal because the man had more hair than a Sasquatch. I'm telling y'all, I might have found Bigfoot. I really might have found it. So there he was, all sweaty and hairy in my space, and as I walked in the door, he says, "Good morning, mate." Well, needless to say, I wasn't feeling very chatty. I wanted my space, and he was in it. And so I asked him to move over a little bit and let me sit on the top step next to him, because that's where the steam is the hottest. And he said, "Sure, mate." Now, from his choice of words and his accent, I assume maybe he's from Australia, maybe he's from New Zealand, because I seriously doubt he was considering me for a potential mate. Which is a good thing, because generally speaking, that's not where I meet my mates, in the men's steam room. Well, the problem is, he didn't move over that much. Just enough to let me squeeze in next to him. Now, here's the thing. You probably don't know me very well, but I'm the type of guy that has large personal space requirements, you know? I don't like people in my face, you know, close enough to smell what you had for breakfast on your breath. You know, I just need a little bit of room. But since I had already inconvenienced this guy once, I didn't feel it was appropriate, I didn't feel it was reasonable to say, "Could you move over a little bit more, please?" But honestly, truth be told, I really, really wanted to do that. So, what happened next kind of grossed me out. Because what happened is I'm seated way too close to this guy. He hikes his foot up and he starts picking at his toenails. Yeah, right there with me next to him. And then when he's done with that one, he picks up the other foot and starts picking at those toenails. And so as he's doing it, I'm like moving closer and closer to hug the wall next to me. And then finally, when he's done with both feet, he starts shaking the sweat off of his face like that, which of course lands right on me. Now, I'm a Virgo, and we like clean. We like clean. My partner says, "You don't clean things, you sterilize them." So, just as I was starting to say something rude, as something was going to leap out of my mouth, he gets up, he leaves, and he says, "Good day, mate." Now you're thinking to yourself, why? Why is he sharing this story with us? Where is the spiritual lesson in the story? Wait for it. So for it all to make sense, I have to tell you another story. So hang in there for a minute. Do you know about your lizard brain? You know a little bit about your lizard brain? Technically, it's called the amygdala, you know? It's an almond-shaped nugget that sits on the temporal lobe of your brain, and its primary purpose is to drive your behavior. It's an ancient survival mechanism left over from millions of years of evolution, but is still nonetheless part of your makeup. And it can greatly influence your choices and your desires and your actions in life, even though you may be completely unconscious that it's doing that. Now, all lizards have is an amygdala. That's the composition of their entire brain. That's why it's called a lizard brain. And it guides every single thing they do instinctively to survive. One scientist recently said, to put it simply, your lizard brain is hungry, scared, selfish, and horny. Now imagine combining all those together. That might explain the restraining order you put on your ex in the 1990s, right? Because if you're hungry, if you're scared, if you're selfish, and you're horny, how do you think you're going to act? What kind of choices do you think you might make in that condition? And what kind of life might you have as a result of those choices? Your lizard brain says, my needs are more important than yours. I'm going to get what I want. I don't care what you want, and screw you. When the lizard brain is driving your car on I-85, on the perimeter, when the lizard brain is driving your car, you know what you do? You cut people off in traffic. You flip them off. You curse at them. When your lizard brain is at work with you, you compete fiercely with other people at work. You climb over anyone as you claw your way to the top of the corporate ladder. And when your lizard brain happens to take you out on a Saturday night, it's not going to be good for somebody. It's not going to be good. You're going to like drunk text or something. It's really going to be bad. The lizard is not holistic. He's separate and isolated. The lizard does not have compassion. He doesn't know what whole systems thinking is. He's just out for himself. Now, it might be fun. I mean, if you want to have some fun, it might be fun to date one of these people. I mean, especially if you like drama. Go for the lizard. But you must never, ever, ever, ever marry one. Never marry a lizard brain. Too late for some of you. Information too late. Sorry. Again, you're asking yourself, why? Why is he sharing this story? How does it relate to the hairy man in the steam room? Let me piece it all together for you. You have a higher self and a lower self. The higher self is the lover. The higher self is the dreamer. It is the visionary. The higher self has compassion. It sees the oneness in the intricate web of life all connecting us together. It is the one you brought here today, this morning, to church. It is the one that greets everyone with namaste. The God in me, that which is sacred and holy within me, sees, recognizes, acknowledges, and respects the God in you, that which is holy. The higher self is your spiritual self. That part of you that should drive your choices and guide your actions in life. Notice I said should. But then there's the lizard. And we all know what he wants. He's reactive, he's aggressive, and he is totally and completely self-absorbed. He represents your lower self, and the choices he makes will always get you into trouble. Always, not sometimes, always. Now, call it what you will, say whatever it is, say it's evolution, you know? Say it's the contradiction of a pure and perfect and holy and sacred spiritual being, as one poet said, trapped inside this dying animal body. But whatever it is you call it, it is still part of your nature, and that means you have to deal with it. You have to deal with it. So with every choice that you make in your life, with every person that you encounter throughout your day, you are driven by your higher self or the lower self. Obviously, clearly, when I was in the steam room, I was using and operating from my lizard brain. Because that guy was in my space. I didn't care what he wanted. I didn't care what brought him comfort. I wanted him out of my way. Now, the good news is, through lots and lots of trial and error, and through getting myself into a great deal of trouble over the years, I have learned to keep my lizard's mouth shut. And so I didn't say anything to him, even though I really wanted to. I just sat there with my mouth shut. You know, after 32 years in this teaching, I've learned something magical. Would you like to know what it is? It's brilliant. Sometimes the best response is no response at all. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do, the most giving thing you can do, is to say nothing and to do nothing. Remember this. It is particularly good advice at a family reunion. Very good advice. Look, the truth is, we are all made of the same stuff. Every one of us. And so every day you have to make a choice, whether to act or to react, whether to use the power of your higher self to uplift and inspire other people, or to act like a lizard and put them down. And here's the thing and why I'm telling you this. Because believe it or not, that is the choice, that is the most important choice you're going to make all day long. Because it's in that choice, it determines exactly how much good is going to come back into your life. So, let me relieve you. You can give up your beseeching prayers to some distant deity you think is watching you from afar. You can stop posing for Jesus. Because every single thing good that comes into your life comes from a simple spiritual law that says what you give to others will be given to you, and what you withhold from others will be withheld from you. When I was a kid, I used to go to the movies a lot. They were my way of escaping an unhappy family life. Because, you know, I was raised by baboons in the forest. They were determined to have higher parenting skills. So I would throw myself into the magic and the mystery of fantasy in movies. And I particularly liked science fiction. I was always fascinated with the future, and that's maybe because the present wasn't all that great. And of course, this was way, way, way back in the day. Old school, way back in the day when you could still smoke in theaters. You could smoke in theaters. I mean, putting a smoking section in theater is like putting a peeing section in a pool. Yeah. It just all, sort of all goes everywhere. I mean, it's really unimaginable today to go into a theater and see people smoking. But it created that blue haze. Remember the blue haze? I used to watch that blue haze that the smoke created in the light, you know, that would come from the projector's booth in the back of the theater. Remember that? Yeah. If you were born in the 80s, you don't know what I'm talking about. Google it. So way back in the day before digital technology, when movies were on actual film that ran through a projector and some great big light would shine it onto a screen. And for reasons really unknown to me then, because it was peculiar, but clear to me now, I would follow that light all the way back to the square window that it came from in the back of the movie theater from the projector's booth. And I thought about how all the entire movie, and all the drama that was unfolding on the screen in front of everybody literally came from thousands of tiny little images that were force-fed through a projector, adding light and color and motion and movement. And so now you're thinking, you're not only a strange adult, you're a weird child. You were always strange, because most kids would always be watching the movie, and I'm looking back at the projector and the square light. What is that about? It was reported in the news a few weeks ago that scientists actually have a new theory on how the universe is held together. The theory is that none of what you see is real. Absolutely none of what you see is real. There is no such thing as solid matter. Even though it appears to be so, it is by the agreement of all of us that it is so. Every single thing that exists, they say, as a holographic projection. So every single thing that appears real throughout the universe, all the billions of planets, the trillions of stars, all the galaxies, the supernovas, the black holes, are just like that movie that I watched as a kid. Images being reflected into reality by some great big light. Except in this case, the imagery appears to be three-dimensional. 20th century poet and playwright Eden Philpott said, "The universe is full of magical things, patiently waiting for our wits to grow sharper." So maybe everything that appears to have hurt you isn't real. Maybe all the hardships that you have gone through in this life are just really a scripted storyline, a drama that unfolds to serve some greater purpose for your soul. What if all the big dramatic things that have scared the hell out of you, that have brought you to your knees, the death of somebody that you love so greatly, the loss of a job and you didn't think you were ever going to get another one, the diagnosis of some ridiculous life-threatening illness, what if none of it is really real and you don't have anything to be afraid of? What if they're just tiny little images that are being projected onto some hologram that you call your life experience? What if? And I wonder what would happen if you turned your attention away from the drama on the screen. If you did what I did back in the movie theater, if you turned back toward the light, I wonder what would happen. Maybe the storyline would end, and this big thing that scared the hell out of you would vanish into thin air. Maybe you have more power than you think you've got. Maybe you do. I propose that you do. I think you're all way more powerful than you're pretending to be. I think this small thinking, this small acting is an act. I think you're way more powerful. I think you can say something is so and make it so just like that. I do. I think you can dream a dream and believe in it so much with all of your heart that you can make it so just like that. That's what my new book is about. The power of you. It is about how your spiritual journey and all that you have been through up until now has brought you to the man that you are today. It is about how all the personal challenges and the stuff that you've been through that has challenged you so much has turned you into a stronger, wiser woman who, by the way, is better equipped now than ever before in all of our history to take your place as a leader of nations. And ladies, we need you to lead right now. The world is in the condition it is because men have been leading it for thousands of years. Men, you need to go sit down and shut up for a little while. I'm thinking about 100 years is good. I'll come back and get you when it's time to stand up again. I'm getting really bad looks from the guys. Dude, sorry. Here's something I've observed in our 21st century world. It's not just technology that's advancing so rapidly and so quickly. Listen to me. Never before in all of human history has the time span between ideation and manifestation been so short. Never before. I'm telling you, we are living in a time of vast opportunities, a new era of creativity. I don't know whether you thought about this or know about this, but the information age is over. It ended. It failed to bring us enlightenment. It failed. And that is because more information does not necessarily convert or convey to greater wisdom. It doesn't. So only those who are conscious, only those who are creative will succeed now. Only those. Us. The conscious and the creative. Emerson says, Ralph Waldo Emerson says, each takes his own from the multiplicity that sweeps and circles round him. That multiplicity is the mind of God, and you live in it. So you're no longer bound by the knee-jerk reactions of some lizard brain. Consciousness awakens and you rise. So this is your time. You must stop wasting your time on low-life activities. You are conscious now. You are awake. You are ready to assume your post that nature has created for you. There's work to be done here. Do you not understand? The systems are crumbling and falling apart. Do you understand that you are here to change the world, not just get a better parking space or a cuter boyfriend? Do you know that? Let me tell you something. An evolutionary code has been activated within the human race and within your mind, and you are finally coming into your power. So you must wake up. You must stay awake. You must help me. I need your help. We have to change the world. Will you help me? Yes. And so ends the lesson. Thank you.